All right, thanks again for tuning in for Hempire. I'm Pete Barenberg. This here is Nick DeFrancesco. What's going on, Nick? How you doing, man?
Good. I'm actually excited. We got Kyle Turley on today. We're talking about somebody that really, cannabis has changed his life.
For sure. Let's bring him in. Kyle, how's it going, man?
It's going great, man. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys.
We appreciate you taking the time with us, for sure, man. That's one thing.
Absolutely. It's funny because, why we have you on the show is we obviously are on the same page for a lot of different things. One of the things, I've obviously followed your career, followed a lot of, other interviews that you've done. And one of them was Weed 4, the CNN special by Shonday Gupta. And it was such a powerful one from the beginning, talking about Charlotte and epilepsy and things like that. And then to go to the new one, the fourth one, pot versus pills, which is right up, obviously, up our alley. What type of feedback have you gotten from that? And, do we think that we're making a difference? Do you see headway? Just kind of seeing it from your perspective.
Yeah, there was a lot of great momentum and a lot of progress that's been made through this whole thing. It's continuing. It's a very fluid situation, right, as you guys know. But the CNN guys, they're looking for, personally, from my experience, and then trying to follow up with those people, they're looking for, weed 26. They don't ever want to put this to bed. They don't ever want to just completely acknowledge the endogenous cannabinoid system. Demand that the science community does. It's the number one regulatory system in the human body, and you have individuals like they call themselves doctors. It's unfortunate that Gupta and these other guys like Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, I've been on all their shows, and I've just completely handed it to them. Like I'm here to help you guys articulate this message and put it in the right context for that middle of the road conversation, and you're continuing to want to keep this it seems to be a questionable thing, and it's just right. So there for them to acknowledge and put to bed. There's on my end, it's great. You see all the great progress. I mean, kick the doors down on the NFL, all these other things. Huge. They don't test anymore. That's because of all the work that we've done by stepping up for this, exposing this, and shows like CNN that have shows like that, like Weeds, and Vice. Vice did a great job with the series that I, opened my life up to. I don't need to show the world these things and all the struggles that I deal with. Everybody can, sit back and just believe that I've got a money tree in my backyard, and all these great things you accomplish didn't come at some kind of consequence. But the reality is that it did, and I feel I'm not alone, and I'm more relative to more people out here in their everyday experiences. It's not just about football. These are ailments, things that happen on a football field or out in the world, and there's this amazing plant that's here to fix it.
And it's funny because you say that, and it's like, obviously, professional athlete, everything comes at a cost, but we're talking about just the everyday person as well. People that just maybe have pain from a car accident or something that they couldn't control. Somebody hit them or. Okay, so there was an interview that you did, and you talked about Vioxx, and I thought that was amazing because that's one of the things that, people know. They just take an NSAID, they just take an Advil or a Tylenol, and they pop it like it's no big deal. Or they take Vioxx, again, prescription over the counter versus over the counter. But my point is that how many side effects it was really giving people when all you just want is relief.
The fact that, we have someone, as on your side, who has not just a personal experience but a platform to do it, to really push forward with the passion that you've brought is just amazing. So we try to find those brothers in arms that we can to help weed through the trash, get rid of that nonsense, and really kind of put what we feel is important for everybody to know.
I know you said it was I don't know if it was a junior seau, or I know you said it was a Hall of Fame player or someone that gave you that talk about cannabis and said you might want to try that. Was that really what happened?
Yeah, that's how it happened.
That's awesome.
It's pretty easy. Here, have this. You feel better. It works. I just had to have the testing program of the NFL be brought to my attention. And, because I came from the NCAA where it was, very, very, scrutinizing random testing constantly. I saw my teammates getting suspended, all these other things. I wasn't about to risk that. I had an opportunity to do something great. And I didn't need it at the time. I didn't feel I needed it. I didn't know that I needed it. More importantly, and, you go to that pharmaceutical conversation, and that comment that I just made, that I didn't know I needed it. And that first experience was something that proved to me this was something that I needed. I slept for the first time in months. I was able to then go on to an all-pro season where I was dealing with a lot of stress, tons of stress. That just people don't understand. They don't have the opportunity to really live in that life and understand the magnitude of, what millions of dollars means and all this pressure to make sure that everybody thinks it's worth it, and while everybody else around you is trying to reach over your shoulder and grab it and take it, this is a real issue. This are real things. And then you combine all of that pounding head trauma that happens in football, and you don't make good decisions. I was pretty much showed that to the world at times. Became very famous as a football player because of my inability to control my emotions. And this plant is one of those things that, gives you that experience. And then you go into understanding why that is. And why that is because you have an endogenous cannabinoid system, and that all these receptors matter, that everything involved in your human health first starts in that cannabinoid system and trickles down from there. It's a scientific fact that this is occurring, and that the medical community, I found out, was keeping that from me, was just like finding out the NFL was keeping concussions away and the damage of those things and what that was causing when they just pick you up and put you back out there and keep going, keep doing it again. The real life experience of the consequence of that from all these neurological issues. I've been in and out of the hospital dealing with, seizures, light sensitivity off the charts, vertigo constantly. To be able to say that I eliminated these things from happening in my life. They're real. These things have happened, and you got to address them. There's one way to start doing that, and that's through the cannabinoid system, not through the Vicodin system and the aspirin system or the Vioxx system, or all these drugs that they continue to keep pulling off the market.
Feeding the money system, and the truth is that the power is in that plant, naturally. National Football League recently announced the award of the $1 million research grant to the two teams, medical research at University of California, San Diego, and University of Regina. The study will investigate, obviously, cannabis, and will go into a little bit more in detail of, concussions and through elite football players, but the effect of cannabinoids in pain and recovery. And I think that you didn't need a study to let you know the differences of pain and recovery when you started taking it. Was it something you kind of went half and half? Like, obviously you were on painkillers, you were using opiates and things like that. Is it something that you were able to kind of taper off? Did you go cold turkey? Was it something you immediately noticed the difference when you switched over to cannabinoid therapy or cannabis treatment? Or what was your transition like? Because obviously, some of these come with withdrawal and side effects and things.
Team program in California, that's when I was able to really understand this as a medicine where I could apply it. Outside of that, during my football career, was just using it to, have a better mind, to not allow these other things that were going on with me, really drive me down a wrong path and have all these issues occur. Getting sleep, was the immediate thing that it resolved, and then the appetite, being a lineman in the NFL. So it was sleeping and eating. I needed to do that. That's how you recover. That's first and foremost for your health in any situation, is to make sure you're getting proper rest and nutrition. And so that's all it was for me. It was post practice games. Never before wasn't one of those guys that would come to practice high or anything like that. It was strictly post-practice. I didn't drink, so everybody would go get their beers and drink and have their, wind down sessions. And I just, found an unbelievable opportunity to do that with cannabis. And so that was my football career. Then, post-football career, a lot of, health issues that were severe and very serious that I needed to find these resolutions for to get off these painkillers that just kept mounting and mounting, and then into psych meds and all these other things. And having the opportunity to try all these different strains, understand what indicas and sativas are, and all these different things, and terpenes and cannabinoids, all the entire spectrum of this plant is paramount. That's why I continue to say that to this day, that athletes need to understand this plant more than anything else that they need to understand, because it is this plant that will extend their careers, that does resolve inflammation and all of these other issues with pain, far beyond what I experienced in pharmaceutical world, and I tried them all.
How about your friends, your peers, other athletes? How have they responded to you saying this? I mean, are they on board? Do they fight you? Are you saying about the quality of life you're living? Do you feel like it's making a difference? Do you feel like they're listening to you?
No, it's not falling on deaf ears. Again, we've made great strides and progress. We've gotten, testing for NFL players eliminated now. The NCAA doesn't. They increased their testing for THC, but they're not going to get away with suspending players for marijuana anymore. It's not going to happen, before it's an issue, and then they just put that one to bed if any of these schools care to. I just don't think the NCAA is doing that anymore. The exposure of this by athletes is driven it, and as it should. They don't do anything for us other than use us to generate billions and billions of dollars in these industries. This is a business to them. It is not to us. This is our dream.
It's your life. What was your expectations, let's say, of this $1 million grant from the NFL?
Well, again, they are doctors. Their entire medical staff are very high paid, qualified, credentialed doctors, and I've had the opportunity to speak in front of them in a private session, and gave them a full PowerPoint presentation on the cannabinoid system. I'm a bit naive, a bit young, so it's taken me a while to understand that these people already knew this. They really don't care. The study that they've given $1 million for is going to two buddies of mine in San Diego with a vape company, and they're just doing it on rugby players. They haven't even started yet. The guy who heads the NFL's program for cannabis on these types of things that they've handed it over is a complete reefer madness nut job. And that's a book that's out about cannabis, like he knows something. And again, they're still continuing to deny that the exposure of the cannabinoid system, the neuroprotective patent that the government owns on cannabinoids, is even an important thing for the NFL to really focus on. And that's absurd. It is the only neuroprotective substance or patented substance on the planet. There's not one other thing on the planet that has been patented as a neuroprotectant other than cannabinoids.
So what do you think more we can do, I guess, in the future to further this cause? I mean, what other things?
It needs to speed up, I think.
Well, it definitely needs to speed up.
Because everything is, the fact that they're just dragging still on a lot of the issues, like you said, they're just still trying to hide. They're spending more money and time lying and hiding about creating that so-called better way of life that they're trying to do. If they're so focused on help, whether it's the NFL or not, let's get to it. Put your money where your mouth is, and let's start helping these people. Instead of creating,
Yeah, I've offered it to them. I've offered them the opportunity to get into a training camp and just implement CBD first and foremost. CBD isolate alone, given in a soft gel cap during training camp, and you could record a study that would change medicine forever. Because of the strenuous natures of training camp, just in that 1 month with a CBD supplement alone. I've not even offered them the opportunity to get into Rick Simpson oils and strains and all these different things in full plant. Just CBD isolate. They have refused for me the opportunity. I've brought them Bonnie Goldstein, Sue Sisley. I've brought them Raphael Meshulam, and they've refused. I've connected them directly with all of these people on emails.
What we do is, and we always sell to doctors and healthcare professionals. One of the products that we're so passionate about and what we do is Pure Relief, which is basically a natural pharmaceutical, catechin bacillin, boswellia curcumin. We add a little bit of Delta 8, full spectrum CBD oil, and CBG. and we're having to go one doctor at a time to try to see it with their patients, whether it's a rheumatologist, a pain management, a chiropractor, anybody that will listen to us, and the results that we're getting are through the roof. So I would hope that one day that they would get it to the NFL and really be able to give it to these patients, but not just the NFL, right?
I guess they start early with the younger kids as they're working their way up, so they're not broken before they even get there.
Right, I know you're very passionate about that, even cannabinoid therapy in children. They say, well, how old can a kid be to give CBD? Well, did you breastfeed, ma'am? Because
I didn't. Maybe, yeah.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, because you gave it in your breast milk for your child,
right.
Because we have an endocannabinoids in our body. And are you doing anything moving forward? Do you have anything in the works?
Yeah, just continuing down the path. You know, at the end of the day, this is a passion project. This is a pursuit to continue to fight until this plant's free. We still have federal legalization out there, banking that needs to happen for the industry. All these different things. I've got all these different companies where, you know, I personally know that, I need to stay in this industry, in this business, for the long haul, because it is being quickly, wanting to be put back, back to the reefer madness era. You know, there's a very, very strong push right now in misinformation. All of this ignorance is coming back full circle. And so, what I have coming up is just continue to do what I'm doing and, be there and be present when the opportunities present themselves to, speak about this and, really keep these people running from it, because they can't run for long. And,
that's for sure.
We're winning at the end of the day. The green states are surrounding where I'm at right now, living as a criminal in Nashville, Tennessee. And I've been in personal contact with the governor and all the sheriffs around here. My dad's a former police chief and sheriff. And I know who to go to about this, and all these guys, they want that to happen. You're seeing now police officers in certain states being allowed to test positive for marijuana now, in New Jersey, and these other things that are coming up. The more we get this into professional worlds and fields, and the rec industry, is doing a great job of moving product, but we could be moving a lot faster if we got back to focusing on the medicine and really truly pushing this forward as the medicine that it is. And so that's what I'm doing. I got companies that are focusing on certain strains, really emphasizing all these different things that are out there in cannabinoids. Weed is not just weed. And, that's what they want you to believe. And, there's just too many things coming out about all this different stuff where it doesn't matter strains anymore. It doesn't matter this anymore. It's like Rick Simpson oil still isn't really readily available on the shelves in California dispensaries. It's a very random product.
Well, that's something we need to help change. That's for sure. And again, this is what this show's about. These are real people. These are real battles with cannabis and changing their life, trying to forward the narrative, trying to educate out there. We've got to do everything we can. Education is key. Quality products are important. Know what you're taking, people. This is, come on. You're putting it in your body to use it for a medical condition. If that was the case, would we go to a gas station if we had a medical condition? No. We'd want to know where you're getting it, where it's coming from, and what it's going to do to you, and what are the potential side effects, which could be none if you do something like cannabis or hemp. Thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, and we thank everybody here for tuning in to Hempire. Once again, I'm Pete Barenberg. This is Nick DeFrancesco.
Absolutely. Remember, www.purewell.com. Come and check us out.
Get educated.
The opinions expressed on this CannabisRadio.com program are those of the guests and hosts and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff and management of CannabisRadio.com. Any rebroadcast, republication, or retransmission of this program without proper consent is prohibited.